Okay, log me in. Okay, lead scores. Eh? Yeah, I get the spread it all down there for you.
What's your application name?
OG979. Oh, sorry, what was that? OG9. Oh, there goes my head again. I wasn't here last month because I fell over and I got two massively black eyes. I'm going to get a clock. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'll use my scarf. Okay. Sorry about that, Richard. I didn't get the computer. Okay, so lead scores. People have got the misconception a little bit that you really need a sales team that's a sales-orientated process. But, for example, I'll just tell you about this client that we manage it for. They're a fuel, they do fuel injections and all that sort of stuff. They've got a business that's about 40 years old with about 40 staff, and there's three guys that are in Infusionsoft, but not one person in 6 months that we've been running it for them has ever looked inside of their Infusionsoft application. They don't even know how to log in, so they don't want to know. So we just do their stuff for them. So I keep it very simple, and we keep it for just doing email campaigns. So they've got their customer base is eBay customers, and then they deal with dealers like motor dealers and stuff in WA. So they're in Perth. So what we use the lead score thing for is really behaviour based. So instead of like with this, like a sales team will use it, and I'll show you how we use it for our sales team, which is quite complex. But just in any business whatsoever, when you're sending out emails and you're getting into campaigns, and some of you people who are just starting to build campaigns and send them off to people, I always suggest to people that you put at least 2 or 3 link clicks or some action in every email. And I don't mean a sales pitch or anything, just any type of action. Like it might be click through to watch a video on YouTube, or it might be just click through and look at our website, or click through and look at our blog, or any type. Make them always take some form of action in any email. Even if it's a really softly, oh hi, it's me, I haven't been in touch for a while. Make sure that you're able to track what people are doing. So then what you can then do is start tracking the engagement from your emails, even when you're not selling them something. So what I end up doing in the lead scoring, which I'll show you, is every action where they clicked on something, you create a tag for it. So they're tagged as having viewed something or clicked on something. And then what you can do with lead scoring is give that some points based on how valuable that might be to you. Like if they clicked on a link to go back to the eBay store to buy a product, is a little bit better than them just visiting their website. So I might give that 20 points instead of 10 points. So are we in?
No, the password.
Oh, yeah. I know my password. Oh no, it's not that one. Oh my god, I have to change it.
It says you have one last attempt before you get locked out.
I have absolutely, what's that? No. Oh, you've not got Emerald Media Group, that's what it is.
That's my fault.
No, and then I gave it on password, but put it on. Okay. Unless you want to remember my password. You do that automatically. You just remember my password. Oh, somebody else's computer. Okay. Now, what also, I'm going to show you how to set it up. In a minute, I'll show you where you go to set it up, which is what we've done in our application. It's already set up, so as I show you how to set it up, it's already there. But okay, this is slow. Man, this is good. It's me today. So I've actually done a little widget on the dashboard too, which I have called flame scores. So there's 5 flames, and you can go through. So obviously a 1 flame person is a lot of, 2 flames is less. So right up to 5 flames. Now 5 flames and 4 flames to me is I get on the phone and talk to them instantly. Like I don't even wait a minute. As soon as I get, because what it does is it notifies you by email. Well, I set it up to notify me by email when somebody reaches 4 flames, and then I just ring them up and I know that there's something that I've got to do with that person. And another thing in the lead scoring, I don't have any customers in there. So as soon as they become, I have my flame scores go to 100. So to get 5 flames, you have to have 100 points. So it's 20 points per flame. So the minute somebody becomes a customer, I give them a -100 points so that they're not a prospect. So basically, these are people that we're trying to do business with and do that.
You'd like us to get control this, but you have to look at that screen, not this.
Okay. So if we just go into the scores, I'll just show you. It takes a little while to load, so I'll show you the how do I go to another app?
Look at the screen up there.
Oh, I'm going to go to another app. Not showing it. Oh, here we go. So I'm just going to show you the easy one first. This is all based on behaviours. And these people have a very uncomplicated system. And these people don't run up to their sales team. They don't do anything like that. So when you go to do flame scores, it's just called scores. It's not called lead scores or anything else. It's just called scores. And it's under the CRM, under settings. And then just down under this thing here, you've got the thing called scores, which you've maybe seen but didn't know really what to do with, yeah? Actually, is there information in the back end about it? There would be, wouldn't there? Just in the help pages.
Yeah, when people haven't done it, that they search for flames.
Yeah.
Flame.
Or lead scores. I think Infusionsoft call it lead scores, but but it's really just scores. So this is the simple one which I've just done with 4 or 5 criteria, and I'll show you how that works. So I've got again 100 points equals 5 flames, so 1 flame is 20 points. So what you have to set it up, you've got to pick. Okay, so for contacts you can have tags or activities. So and an idea of what tags are, everybody, I think, don't you? You've all done tags. But an activity might be, like you might choose activity as in build in any web form. Doesn't matter what web form, but any web form in your system. So I just do everything based on tags, basically. Oh, I just disappeared that one. Okay. And then either contains or doesn't contain. So contains, which one did I lose? Probably a huge one. So then just click in there and okay. So you're just clicking a tag. It's dead easy to add them. So there's not too many choices. It's just tags or activities, contains, doesn't contain, and then choose how many points. And the interesting thing is you sort of need to go back and adjust it a few times so it starts working. So if somebody clicks on the website link, often these are all off email. This is all behaviour tags. None of them are anything that's sort of predetermined. I'll get 10 points. So they're getting half a flame really. And then because they're not engaging with us, you can expire those flames or those points, all right? So I might say, okay, so after 6 weeks, I'm going to take those 10 points away. I'm going to take that half point away, and hopefully they'll have built that up from other means, but whichever. So you can expire any of those flames. So what I've got here is that's a better behaviour to me. They've actually gone through to the eBay store, and they've even clicked on the special link to buy something, that's going to give them 20 points. That's one whole flame. Now, if somehow or another their email bounces, I take 10 points away because they might have accrued a point, which makes me think, oh, well, they're a good prospect or they're a good engager. I'm going to take stuff away from them if something happens, like I haven't got their email address or whatever. And then the maximum points they're probably going to accrue from the email campaigns is about 40 or 50. Nobody's ever going to get a whole stack of flames unless they click on the website every week when they get an email, then they'll start building them up. But if they unsubscribe, they'll lose all their points. So all of a sudden they've got no flames anymore. So that's does everybody get that, what I'm saying there? It's really simple to start. Personally, I started off when I started at something like 20 or 30 points, but I find 100 easy in my head. Like I know that 10 points is half a flame, and 20 points is a whole flame, and 50 points is 2.5 flames. And so, and then you just save it. So that ends up, I better say that again, with that. So this just gives you a real simple thing, and you know where the flames appear, don't you? In the contact records, you'll have a little. Yes.
Can I add something? Like the most effective thing I've seen people do, like Lynda's just remarked through everything being totally dialed in. Just pick the one behaviour that you want to look for. Yeah. Give it 100 points. Just do that tomorrow. Just one behaviour, 100 points. One tag applied, 100 points. No expiry, and just run your lead scoring like that for a while, and you'll just very black and white see. It's good and it's bad. And just do that. Well, even this, it shows me, like if I send an email out to 300 people, and then you'll see who has actually done something. It doesn't even need to be 100 points or anything, just.
Can you actually target people who only have, let's say, 5 and 4 friends?
Yeah, that's what I do. You know, like, I'll show you how you go and find them that way. Just under contact. You can do a lookup, see where it says lead score, equals 3. Okay, I want to find anybody that's got 4 flames or 5 flames. And you just do a lookup, find them. Or what I do is in the grid view, you know how like you've got your interactive and you've got your grid view? You know, the grid view that's like a spreadsheet. And then if you go in and edit the columns and stuff, you can bring the lead score column into your grid view and into your interactive view, and you can do a lookup just by clicking on the top of the column to find the flame people. And then, like I said, I haven't put this on their dashboard. I'll go back to my one, which is a bit of a.
Can I ask a question too with regards to placing the flames?
Yeah.
You're triggering off the tag, right? If they clicked on a link, if they click on that link, they get that tag. I don't understand how they can do that multiple times to get a multiple score.
No, not on the same link.
Tag.
No, not off the same tag.
Oh, okay. So
what? These are all quite new tags. So every time I do a campaign, I build a new tag of a different click.
Oh, I get it.
Click something different.
All right. Okay. All
so
right.
That's all we're at
got
the
that
moment.
tag already.
Yeah.
They're never going to get another piece of lead value off that tag.
No.
It has to be a new one.
That's right.
Cool. All right.
So in our one, so there you can just put that little widget there. So that's showing you also can go in and anybody that's got one flame, just click on that and you'll find the person straight away.
If you have, say, 1,000 names, but you're only sending your email campaign, most people 10, click on the thing and get tagged. But of the other 900, if they already had pre-existing tags, will they also end up scored?
They will do if they
Have the
unless you expire it. You know how like I showed you the expiry. So if you'd done an email 3 months ago and okay, they clicked on a link and then you said, well, I haven't done anything since, or if they then don't become a customer in the next 3 months, I'm going to take your score away from you because you're not a really hot prospect anymore, or I might halve your score, or I might bring you down to a different score. Now,
the system tells you when the tag was applied, so you can see what date they achieved that tag.
But you're creating a new tag every time anyway.
Yeah.
There's a subtle difference. So in Campaign Builder, a tag goal is an event, like when that tag is applied. Every time you change your score criteria, Infusionsoft will go through your whole CRM, look for people that meet that criteria and change their claims. So just be aware that it is looking.
This one takes about an hour.
Yeah.
Hour or 2 hours for Infusionsoft to change the flame values whenever I change anything. Because it's big, you wait.
And how hot is a 5 flame? Like, are they someone, if you give them a call, would they purchase?
If somebody gets the 5 flames, it means that they're, in that other example, it's all based on behaviour and emails, whereas in my one, it's based on my opportunity stages as well. So if they're in a nurture sequence, if we've deemed them valuable, I'll show you once this all loads, if we've deemed them valuable enough to be in a nurture sequence, they'll get 10 points, or if we've put them into discovery, we'll give them 10 points. If they go into hottest, they'll get 40 points, and that's all based on the salesperson's criteria as opposed to them doing anything. Do you know what I mean? That's why I wanted to show you the other little one first, because that's based just on engagement from emails, and that's not for a sales team. So you know, some people don't add lead scoring into their database because they think, oh, I'm not going to do that because I don't have a sales team. But you don't have to. It just shows you, just like Christy said, whack a 1 tag thingy on it, or do what I've done there with just 4. So you just go down
And the purpose of the behaviour tag there is to see what your content, see if the content that you're sending out is relevant?
No, I just like to have a list of people that have actually looked at what I've sent them, so I know, oh, that's interesting. These people have...
We use it a lot. We use the lead scoring a lot for measuring engagement.
Yeah.
So if a prospect, you know, someone's come through our platform, I'm watching them on the
How do you pull this down, Richard?
and I'm using the lead score to do that. Yeah. And when they hit a certain point, when I can see all of the engagement they've had with
No, I use it.
I know they are ready.
But I have mine sitting there all the time. You can do it in settings. You can just have that thing on the side down there the whole time.
Your customers
You know that, whatever it is.
similar patterns. Yeah. And once you know what those patterns are within your own business, then you can start to anticipate it so that when you see those particular scores coming up, you know when the right time is to pick up the phone.
It's all up to you. You create your own, you know, like all of this is created over time. So most of these are tag things that we've given points to, like if they contain those things, they get 10. If they contain those things, but with hottest at the end, they get 50. If they have got a proposal, like we've just sent them a proposal, we give them 80 points all of a sudden. So all of a sudden, bang, they're on the 4 or the 5 stars without even doing anything else. So that they're so bloody out there for us. And then I was going to say expires after 10 weeks. We used to have that, I don't know who's put that to 10 weeks. We used to have it a lot quicker than that. So, you know, like if they haven't actually signed up the proposal in a certain period of time, they lose all those points. So they're not top of the pile. So you can actually run your opportunities just by this. So then we've got, okay, so it's B2B Business Directory free listing web form. Somebody's applied for that through the internet. We've given them 10 points, but after 3 months we take it off them because if we haven't turned them into a customer, there ain't much point.
Yeah.
And then we've got like, you can put multiple tags into one little box. You don't need to do one for each thing. So, you know, you can just, okay, that's a 10-point one that's with a 26-week expiry, and we'll just put all of those things into it. Like they viewed the business directory listing or they viewed the directory webpage. So there's loads and loads of tags that they can acquire a score from. So there's lots of things that they could have done to get a score. Okay, and then we've got a minus 100 there for somebody that we, you know, win back to us as ex-customers. And so, like, they've obviously told us to piss off and never come back or do anything. So we think, right, okay, we will piss off then. So we give them minus 100.
Lynda, can I something Jermaine said, which just absolutely resonated with me? You've got a class for kids and you've got 2 seats. It's waste. Who in your CRM are you going to call? This will tell you, you know, you don't want to spend all day on the phone placing those 2 kids. This will tell you which parent to call to tell those 2 spots. That's what this is for.
It pulls people up to the top of the pile. The ones you should be dealing with today or this week instead of, going through that bloody list of 200 again, or 300, or whatever. Or minus them, or email unsubscribe minus 90, bounce minus 10. And then we've got like all the bad debts, like bad or slow payer, closed down, staff, just in case staff get some tags and points, we give them minus 100, not a good lead, competition entry, anything that's really not relevant to the sales process, we just take 100 points off them to start with. Even if they've got no points, they never will get anywhere.
And does that all that criteria equate to one lead score?
Yep.
So the sum of all
No. Just any of those things, they'll get minus 100.
But we add them all up and minus them. When we add all
No. Any of those things. So like you can just, if any of those things happen, they'll get minus 100.
So I think what you're asking is what causes those things to happen. Is that one campaign or one?
Lots of different things that we will have applied to them, either manually or through campaigns.
I know what I mean.
No, I think he means, do they have to have all of those things all together to get minus 100? Is that what you mean?
No, what I mean is you've got about, right now we've considered about 10 different criteria.
Yep.
And you've probably got 50 all up. The sum of all, so it goes through each individual criteria and says, doesn't meet that, meets that minus 10, meets that plus 20, so you're on plus 10.
Yeah, and it adds them and subtracts and does all sorts. And ends up with those 5
Is there
points.
only one lead score? So can you have a lead score for example, how hot they are, and another lead score for how, if they qualify?
This is all, you've got to do it all through this one system. Because I was going to come down to show you something now, because we've got loads of them. This is all to do with our business catalogue business. All of these scores, pluses and minuses and everything else. And we've even got the NPS. You know how that NPS survey that's in the campaign builder that you can do? So if they're a promoter, they get 40. If they're a detractor, they get minus 60. Neutrals, minus 10. And right down to, we have another business called Emerald Prints. And because it's too hard, you can only get one. You need a different application to be able to run 2 different businesses properly, but we run that through one. So anybody that's got any tags to do with the other side of the business we run through this application, we take points off them if they've got those tags, just in case they start getting into some of those tags and start showing up in the wrong way. So it's literally a system you've got to invent for your own business, but it's really pretty easy to set up. And like Christy said, start with one, or like the other campaign, start with 3 or 4, and then start building in this sort of stuff, and then build the dashboard widget. So
It's like building campaigns. Keep it basic as possible first, and once you've got that working, you can move on to the next.
as you can see, I wouldn't have done this in one day.
So this is the science behind it, but the ultimate is if you then do notifications to the key staff.
Yeah, you can do that.
That is based on the outcome. So
Now, how do I get that notification when they get?
just you?
Oh, hang on. It says update recent activity when scores reach 4. And then I do get an email. I don't think I set that up. I get an email from the system when people reach score 4.
You have a campaign with a lead score.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Lead score.
Marissa probably did it.
The way that we do it is we say, if someone, we actually have it a bit split up, so someone can only, like a 3-flame person is actually a really hot category A person, and a 5-flame person is an equally hot category B person, the way that we built it. So you can only get like 30 points if you're in one kind of business. It's a bit more complicated, but we have a campaign that's like a set of goals. So when 3 flames is achieved, send a text to Jake that includes the information of that contact. So no matter where he is, you can call them.
Yeah, I get that by email.
Yeah, so basically it's the same as by email. And when somebody meets 5 flames, you do the same thing, but you might also send the customer a thing saying, hey, we're going to give you a call, but if you want to call us...
Hey, we're going to give you a call and try and sell you something because you've reached 5 flames.
No.
No.
So like, hey, you're,
you realise how hot you are?
You seem interested in our services.
so we've got Rambo's Ramp Up, which is with basically Infusionsoft onboarding for newbies. If someone's interested in a bunch of stuff like that, we send them a thing saying, hey, the next course is blah. So we don't send that to everyone, but if someone's really interested in that product, they automatically get that thing.
Well, you can send all of these, like with the flames too. Then they get a tag saying that there are such and such. You can tag those people to whatever extent their flames are as well. So, but you don't need to because you've got the flames to do that. But you can do that within the campaigns and send different stuff to different people, can't you?
Do you want to show them the campaign goals?
Can you actually target people using some of the social things? So if someone responded to a Twitter comment or a Facebook comment, can that actually be integrated into the scoring?
I haven't done
If you're already tagging that action, so if you're
it's all it has to be is tagged. So anything that you're able to tag and have any form of tag go onto it from any action that happens. I haven't done anything off Facebook, so I can't tell you, but I'm sure you can.
So you use an HTML shortcode as an action set to apply a tag, and then look for that tag in the lead scoring. But even off activities, like you can do. I've got some in this thing here that it's just when if the contact activity contains email unsubscribe, or if the contact activity contains web form submission tag. So any web form that comes into us off our website gets tagged web form submission no matter what else it does. It means that they're getting in touch with us from our website, which is pretty rare because we're B2B. So we give them a whole flame for that. They get really excited. We get really excited. So any web form that comes in, they get 20 points. And then the web form itself that has a tag attached might get more points for them, or it might take points off if it's for a business that I'm not trying to score. So I'll just go into the campaign builder.
Can you allocate some points just that they opened your email and read it?
Yep.
As opposed to not viewing your email?
You can.
It's the activity, so instead of saying it's a contact tag, it's the activity and I want the email open.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That's all to do with activity or tag. They're the only two criteria you can do.
So you give them a value for every single email they open.
Yeah.
Right? And accumulate that.
I think email opened is not a specific email, it's opened any email.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it's an activity that's trackable.
Okay. And let's say, for instance, you're given 5 points for that.
Yeah.
Every time they open any email, would they get another 5 points?
I don't know, do they?
The way that we actually do that is we started every time a link was clicked in an email, or every time an email was opened, we had a unique tag. So this is the one about Trello, and this is the one about Google Keep, right? And all of a sudden you have like a bazillion tags.
And they get out of control.
And no one has the discipline. So what we do now is we have a tag that is applied called active email clicker. So we apply that tag, so whenever anyone clicks an email, that tag goes on. And that actually triggers an RFM campaign. And the first thing that campaign does is remove that tag and give them clicks for the first time. And then, when they open another email next week, they get that active email clicker tag again. We have a little decision item that says, if they already have clicked the first time, then give them the second time. And we keep switching that way.
So you can keep doing it.
You use one tag, and then people go into an RFM campaign, which basically every time they click an email, their count effectively goes up. And then we say, if they've got the first time email click at 10 points, it's basically 100 points. That them achieving that tag is like awesome.
Okay.
So you've got tags with 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks?
Yeah.
We have a whole tag category called RFM.
What's
And
that
we-
stand for?
Recency, frequency, and monetary. So how recent they are, how frequent they are, and how much they've spent. That could be how recently they're clicking, or how recently they've purchased.
Sure.
And then basically we count actions like email opens, email clicks, and purchases.
Yep. And
then we have flags when people are becoming less recent. We have initiatives to bring them back in to be more recent again. If people, have low frequency, we have campaigns to make them more frequent, that sort of thing.
And if you have a sales team that are gonna do manual tags, you can also do +1, +2, just instead of having the sales team go in and do stuff to the database, simple stuff, that you can have a whole stack of tags, it's +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6, whatever. So the salesperson go, oh, this was a really good, I want to move them forward one full flame. They'd get a +20 tag put on, so they can manually add flames and stuff while they're working and not have to go back through and do other behaviour stuff, or -20 or -10 or -5. So you just have a whole swag of tags with +1, +2 or -1, -2, -3, all of that sort of stuff, similar to what Christy's saying. So you can just do all your stuff manually as well.
Yeah, so the moment when I realised that if I just had one tag that every email seek got, and then I might remove that and put an archival event on so that that active one can be infinitely reapplied.
Yep.
And all that reapplication every time it's applied basically count. Like if you want to pay money, you say to Pluses every time the tag is applied and one count for email open field. But I was thinking guide maybe.
So what do you want to look at?
The flame goal.
So yeah, just add a flame goal and then put a sequence after it. I like the eye flame.
Where is it?
So I was going to say, like, just show them when the flame reaches 5, that a task for the sales team to call, or send an email to the, to Lynda or something like that.
I haven't done this before.
Well, something sending you notifications, do this something.
So you can see you can increase. So you say when someone comes up to 5, maybe call them. But talking about RFM, to me, in a business that's doing like high volume, the more important thing is when people start dropping off, when they're cooling off. So we say when a score decreases to 3 flames, send them a coupon. So when someone's actually cooling off from engaging with your product, it's probably a good time to incentivize them to come back.
I've never used the flames in Campaign Builder before. There you go.
We want to see how that works, that's all.
Yeah.
And then you can,
That's good.
then you
That's
can
a good
send an
idea.
email to the task to the team. Basically, it's a way to flag that someone's gotten hot
Yeah.
and you don't miss them. You don't have to actually look and see, hey, have I got any 5 flames today? And that's what I was saying, like we send a text to whoever that stakeholder is to say this is happening. The other way you can use it is if people, if it's customer satisfaction, you can do lead scoring. So if someone's demonstrating to you on a web form or something that they're kicked off, or they're doing things that they're not happy about something, then that could cause a similar kind of
I think you just got to take your business and have a look at it, and it's pretty simple and easy to set up the scoring, and you've got to see how you want to be notified. I know we must have set up a campaign in the past, because if anybody gets 4 stars, the task is set for me to call it. I get an immediate notification, and then I get a follow-up sequence to ensure that I've done it until I've completed the task. So Marissa must have done that.
She's all over it.
She's all over it. I know, I get emails every day, every 24 hours. So, what other questions can Christy answer?
So if someone starts,
Well, I don't mind. You know more than I do.
if I can ask you actually.
Back to life. I did.
Well, whoever wants to answer, I'll start. If I want to start using lead scores as per the very simple example you gave, just simple criteria, how can you then capture, I imagine you can't do this historically, but how can I start capturing when someone became a customer or when someone bought from me, how many flames did they have when they bought? What is that going for?
Oh, that's a good one.
But at least going, if you can't.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So you're saying, okay, you've got a criteria that doesn't need to exist. You can create a criteria, and you want to see if your old customers who met that.
Ideally, yes. If you can't do that, at least
It does it automatically, actually.
Well, no, it hasn't been set up yet, so.
No, when they bought, so let's say someone bought for me the information's there in Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
They bought 5 months ago from me, so I want to know how that person bought 5 months ago, how many funds do they have? The next person, how many funds do they have?
At what level they were at, what flame level they're at when they make
So
purchases.
you want to see what profile a purchaser has at the event of their purchasing,
Yes.
which is really important to know. So all you need to do is set up your lead score, but don't expire anything. And then do a search for, you can do it one of two ways. If you did a search for everyone that's made a purchase in your CRM, so your purchases, you could basically just export it to a CSV and look at their profile. That would probably be the
No, but you wouldn't know what their lead score. If they bought from you 5 months ago, you wouldn't know what the lead score was because I minus stuff off as soon as they become a customer.
Yeah, but if
They've been clicking things since they bought.
Yeah.
Can you look who these people are? Using the
Yeah,
search.
yes.
Yeah, I can do that. And find
I would
out.
say you wouldn't go that way. So what you're saying to me is, I'm going to create a criteria, and then I'm going to see if anyone that purchased met that criteria, right? That's what you
Well,
No, you want it the other way around.
But what I'm saying is what you should actually do is go and pull a report of every piece of information you have about a customer, and go and then look at that, and then pull out your purchases and compare what is your purchase profile against everyone else, and then go build a lead scoring criteria for that customer. Like that. So
Well, that might be a big job if you've got loads of customers. But you can see on a customer's profile when they've clicked on links and all sorts of stuff. Like emails that you've sent them, whether they clicked the link, what they looked at, everything. What type of computer they've got.
Tags a lot?
Yes.
How many tags have you got?
30 or 40.
Yeah, not me.
I've got nearly 2,000.
Quickly name them.
Eh?
Name them.
I would give.
Unbelievably.
Can I see like what's best practice for tag categories and how you?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know now. We're having an acceleration implementation of our business next week because we spend so much time working on other people's business, and then all of a sudden our stuff falls behind. Okay. We're going to do it. I know that we got way too many. There we go. We got 31 tag categories. Way too many. And tags, let me have a look. I hate to think.
800.
Oh, we did have 1,500. There we go. No, 806 tags.
You don't have a naming convention to sort.
We
I don't know
do.
what tags you've got there, if they're not a naming convention.
They should. We've got the naming convention under everything except tags because we have them under categories.
Right.
Like if you look under campaign builder and note templates and everything else, we've got like 1.1. Do you know what I mean? 1.0, 1.1.
What was the, Brad Martin had a naming convention. I think he had like 7. He said you should be able to do it with 7.
7, no, but that's what I've done. But I know it falls off the perch a bit.
Seven tag categories.
Also remember there's 2 types of tags. There's control tags, which control what people go through campaigns, and identification tags that may be permanent or
Do you use
temporary.
trigger tags?
The control.
Like we call them trigger. Our category is trigger. So that's the ones that we anything that starts a campaign comes up under trigger.
And any tags where you want to delete after a certain period, put the date you would want them deleted at the start of the name.
Oh yeah.
Or the date you actually started, if it became valid. The other office that happens every year. You don't want them sitting there for more than a year or more than 6 months. So you can easily identify them and delete them.
So behaviour tags, trigger tags, functional tags, dashboard stat tags, nurture.
A trigger tag is something that triggers a campaign, is it?
We call it trigger. So, like, we might have something that's like such and such mail out, and we've got lots of, you know, we've got a normal tag that's not a trigger category.
Yeah.
So we might have that tag sitting under general.
Yeah.
And then if we need it to start a campaign, we put it under we create a new tag and put it under triggers.
Okay.
So everything that any goal that starts a campaign with a tag in our campaigns is always a trigger tag.
Right.
So that if we see a tag with a trigger category, we say, all right, well, we've got to get rid of that, because as soon as it started the campaign, we delete it.
Right.
And then tag as we go from there.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, that very last sentence.
We use the trigger category. So for every campaign that starts with a tag goal,
Yeah.
it's under the category trigger. It might have the same name as something under another category, but it starts as a trigger tag. The very first thing that happens in the campaign is we remove the trigger tag off it. So it's not going to somehow or another get back in it or do anything like that.
We have three tags for any campaign basically. So we have a trigger. So like I've got a members area promotion campaign for my little cycling coach. Is trigger members area promotion, so put someone in this campaign. And the next one is IS-members area promotion, which means in sequence members area promotion. And then SC, members area promotion, which means sequence complete. So I can see I triggered someone, they're actively in it, or they've finished it. But as soon as they start, I remove the trigger tag. And when they come to the end of it, I remove the in sequence and put the finished. So you can see who's actively in a campaign, who's completed, and who's finished. And that's, you can obviously do campaign goal completion reports, but it's a really quick way to see where people are at. But the cute thing about that is, this guy's got like 50 lead magnets with all these different typing.
So how do you treat nurtured customers? You've only got 3 tag categories. How would you treat someone that you want to nurture?
Well, they're being nurtured in a sequence, so they're in sequence members area nurture basically.
So, but someone could be in a nurture campaign for a while, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll have that tag on for 6 months and then they're done. But the cool thing about that is, in this example with the members area promo, we've got people and someone might go and get the next lead magnet. We don't want to put them in again. So we have a little decision diamond right at the beginning that says, when they get this trigger tag, if they have the in sequence, then send them over here. Don't put them back in it because they're already in it. But depending on the case, if they've already completed it, maybe we might want to start them again. Maybe we want to also not start them again. Depends. So it's a nice way, if you have those in sequence and sequence completed tags, then it's very easy at the front of that campaign to say, yeah, everyone but if they've already got an IS in sequence -- members area promo, don't put them in again.
Okay.
You just for every sequence in all your campaigns?
Well, no, I use it for all my sales and marketing stuff. Just, I can show you this example, but this customer's got, he would literally have 50 landing pages. Basically, every blog article is a separate landing page. But what we've done is consolidate all of his funnels into this central point, which is basically a promotion pathway to promote this members area site, because he's now got one product, which is the members area. And so all paths lead to Rome, but we see people downloading 7 different lead magnets in one day. So we want to stop the duplication.
You've got multiple going to
They all go to one place. Yeah.
So can you expire tags?
Yeah.
Right, so if you had the completed sequence tag on somebody,
Yep.
and then every time you go to throw the trigger in there again, it goes, oh, this person's completed.
Yep.
They've already been through this. So if you're doing like a follow-up email on a B2B database that you're doing regular business with, you don't want to keep, every time you do a job with them, you don't want to hit them with another how did it go sort of email. You could sort of expire that after 3 months, and the next time they do business with you again, you throw them back in.
So the way that you might do that is you might just say, look, they're finished, And then the last thing in that sequence is I want to put a 3-month timer on it and then remove the tag. So they get the whole sequence and they have to wait 3 months before the tag comes off. And then they can.
But you'd do that in a campaign sequence, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You can go down the rabbit hole.
But you can't expire tags like you can in lead scores, but you can expire that as it sits there. But if you want to do it with tags or anything else, you've got to go through the campaign builder to do it.
I think the takeaway is just pick 1 or 3 behaviours that are like the top behaviours and just lead for them.
And then do the unsubscribe and bounce stuff with some minuses. I mean, really, this now that we've gone through all that, this one is probably the.
Don't just delete them.
Delete people that unsubscribe. Yeah. No, because I go back in a year from now, I'll do something to them.
You go offline.
Hey? Well, we don't email them again, but like we've got other ways. I mean, we don't just use email. We do mail outs. We've got telemarketers. Do you know what I mean? So
there is a subtle difference between people you can delete and people you want to remember that you don't work with.
I actually keep all our bad debts in the database because when you're dealing with salespeople, you know, they might go and resurrect a company that you've had a bad debt with 3 or 4 years ago. I'd rather have them in the database, tagged all over the place that they're a bad debt, so that, yeah.
We delete basically people that opt out, like hard opt out, like I'm not interested in hearing about users. We delete them. For the customer I'm thinking about, we delete just because he's in the buffer of his. You know, he's got 25,000 people in CRM, so he's basically a high volume business. So anyone that basically opts out, they're out, but they could come back in if they keep on his lead magnet scanner, that's fine. So we basically have a process for the VA to clean out hard bounces and delete them. But if we give someone a ban tag or a rubbish customer tag, we keep it because, so this guy's selling membership sites, we actually don't want him to be a customer because we know that customer takes way more resource than he is worth. So there's like 2 different kinds of rubbish customers.
Yeah, no, we keep all the rubbish customers in there.
So if you don't have more than 10,000 customers. Because it's cool, if you do, like if you're doing Facebook marketing, for example, you can say, like with your profiling of your top customer, you can say in Facebook, I want to market to people like this, my top purchasers. But you can also say, I do not want any of these. So if you know who your rubbish customers are, it's actually just as important to say, these are people I'm not looking for.
Only, you see, this is because I do a lot of Facebook marketing, and it's great in theory, but they have to use their Facebook email address needs to be the address that is. I mean, 90% of my clients use a business address, and when I talk to them on Facebook, like I can only get 10% without use of those functions. So in theory, it's not right.
Depends what you use.
Do you use Square Social?
Sorry?
Do you use Square Social?
I did last year, we did that for 4 months, 4 or 5 months. I just stopped.
Was it any good?
It's good, it's got its limitations. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd put that back up on the screen. That's the simple one now that we've gone through a little bit more complexities. If you just go back and do something as simple as that, I think a couple of pluses and a couple of minuses, and you'll see a few flames through your database, and if they've got a flame, you think, oh, wonder why they've got a flame, and then you have a look at them and do something with them, I think. That's pretty well how I look at it. So, there you go. Enough? Shall I close that down?
Shut it down.
Hey? Why, how do you do it? Maybe that's why
Under the picture of the lady.
You do that. I always just flick it off.
I don't think it matters.
So do I.
It logs you out if you do that.
Logs you out when you're inactive.
It logs you out too often.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll leave that to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, 5-minute break, guys, have a
Did you
drink.
guys learn anything from that?
Yeah.
Ooh.